Hey, everybody. How is it going? It is me, Victoria Baxter, the Saved and Single Ministry, as well as New Thing Life Coaching. And I'm coming before you. I shared this in the SAS Tribe, the group on Facebook. I'm going to also share this on the private or the page on Facebook along with the Instagram page because it's something that's been on my mind really probably about a week or two now. And I'm feeling as if somebody needs to hear it. I know I needed to hear it as well. You know, people, ministers are always, I don't know who needs to hear this. And it's like, you dog, you're the one who needs to hear it. But I knew it was something I needed to hear as well, but I've been led to share it. So I know that somebody else needs to hear it as well. And as you can see from the title, it might sound a little bit weird, but I just wanted someone to understand. Somebody or some people need to understand that it's time for you to stop running from your husband. Somebody you've been praying for a husband, and you've been praying and asking God to help you, prepare to be a wife, help you to become a wife, or, send your husband and prepare, a man who's going to be my husband. But for some of you, God is needing you to understand, like, your husband's already in your face. Your husband is like already right there in your face. I know a lot of us were claiming we want marriage God's way. And as I've said before, I know this is something that oftentimes drives me insane, being completely honest with what it is that I do. Sorry, the light is on my face right now, but I got the blinds open. And I'm blind, so y'all know I need my glasses. But I love what I do, with Single Women's Ministry, and even as far as coaching and everything is concerned. However, what I'm realizing is that we are in a time right now where, social media ministers and prophets and, relationship experts, everyone is a coach nowadays and whatever else. And I take what I do very seriously, but I feel sometimes like I'm someone who's just kind of thrown out in the middle of all of these I don't want to say, fakes or whatever, but I'm thrown in the middle of some other people that are just kind of spitting stuff out there for fame, for likes, to go viral, whatever else the case might be. And I know we're definitely at a point right now where everyone is always talking about, woman, you need to understand that a real man this, and a man of God that, and the man that God has for you this, and your husband this, and you won't have to worry about XYZ and da 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 da. So it has a lot of women who were previously living a certain lifestyle. And I'm not saying anything is wrong with change, so don't come for me for saying that. But it's like we've now forgotten the same grace that has been extended to us. Somehow, a lot of us, and I say us because this was me probably about 2 years ago, but a lot of us have developed now this kind of self-righteous attitude, like we're better than others because we're changed and because we no longer do the things that we used to do. And we're forgetting to offer that same grace to other men. We make everything about, oh, God's daughters, and I'm a woman of God. Well, God really cares about the men of God too. Like in that point, we're all in this together. But we've made everything about us. So I know that God is going to send me a man who can do this and do that. But I hardly ever hear women talk about, well, I know that God is going to send me with the man, and I can't wait to do this for him. And I can't wait to use my gifts and to serve him and be this kind of wife. We make everything about our godly husbands, but what kind of wife are you? We talk about marriage God's way because that's what everyone is preaching and teaching and whatever else nowadays. But if we're going to be completely honest, when we look at the Bible, if we really want marriage God's way, the way that we claim, there was no dating in the Bible. There was no looking in the Bible. There were none of that was going on. There was no type. But today, everyone has a type, and nah, that ain't it. And it's like, I'm praying and I'm going to do this, and I want marriage God's way and what the Bible really says, because truth be told, in those days, we know that a man could just take a woman as his wife. It didn't have to be, the whole, hey, you want to get to know each other. You want to spend time together. You want to go on a few dates, and let's see if let's do everything first and then decide, no, I don't want to spend the rest of my life with you. That's not how it was marriage God's way. So we got to make up our mind. Do you really want marriage God's way or not? Like, which one is it truly going to be? So don't say you're down for it if you're really not. But the thing is, when I say stop running from your husband, now that I got off my little whatever, some of you already have a man. Some of you already have a husband that's right there in your face. He knows it, and even God knows it. But they're waiting on your eyes to be opened. They're waiting for you to realize what it is that God is trying to bring together. They're waiting on you to see what it is that God truly has planned for you and how things have been lined up all of this time. But you're too busy being stuck on what your family and friends might say. You're too busy focusing on your type. You asked God for a blessing, and then you told God that ain't it. Okay, God, send me a good man. And then when he comes, it's like, well, not that one, God. Well, no, I know God wouldn't play me like that. Well, I know God wouldn't send him. Well, no, I don't really have the best of luck. Well, God already knows that's not my type. Like, who do you think you are? Like Isaiah 55, 8 through 9, like says his ways are higher, his thoughts are higher. Like he thinks on a completely different level, but we tend to miss that part. So instead, we end up focusing on all these other superficial prayers and going based on what everyone else is telling us to do, what everyone else is advising us to do, and we're completely going against what God might actually have for us. We're praying for the one instead that really doesn't want us, but then we're asking God to fix the one that we do want, like we haven't even recognized yet. Like God is like, no, like it wouldn't come with like if that's really what I had for you, it wouldn't take all of that. But we don't understand. Listen, I don't know if you caught the message that I did last weekend for the Sassy Saturday special, your bed isn't empty, because that's what's going on with a lot of people still, even connected to this message. It's like we're running from the one that God has for us, but then we're praying for the one who doesn't want us. We're praying for the one who's already shown their true colors. We're praying for the one who's already denounced the God that we believe in, the God that we call Father, the one that we're divinely connected to. But here it is, we're praying that this person will have their eyes open and that they will come to know God, because that's who we want to be. And we want to have this beautiful redemption story like Ruth and Boaz, or just because it'll make for a good book or interview or whatever else. Tomorrow's Sassy Saturday special that I'm doing is called Rahab, Where's Your Husband? And that is going to tie in with this message. That's also going to tie in with last week's message. And these three weren't even supposed to be connected. But again, Holy Spirit knows what he's doing by having me speaking on all of these different things, because women need to hear it. I sometimes upload videos on the YouTube channel or on the Instagram page. I try to make sure they're always on the, they're definitely in the group, they're on the page or whatever. And then, yeah, the YouTube channel. So I'm trying to do better with Instagram or whatever as well. But let me tell you, I can speak on this because it is something that I've experienced before. I can be completely honest and say, I wanted a good man. I prayed for a good man. I met this man and I thought, nah, that's not my type. On paper, this man was everything that I wanted. 2 times. I'll be honest and say that's actually happened to me twice. There are 2 times when I realized that a man was exactly what it is that I wanted, exactly what it is that I wanted and prayed for. But then when they were in my face, one, physically, he wasn't my type. Another man, I was holding his past against him. One little thing that he did, I was holding it against him. Mind you, now I had a whole skeleton of my own, but this man, he didn't care about any of that. Only thing whatever. So 2 different times, I was like, nah, that ain't it. That's not what God would have for me. But again, because that's what everybody else will tell us today. And it's like the more and more that I really read the Bible, and I see how a lot of these marriages went down, and I see the kind of marriage, the kind of people that were connected to each other, and I see the history that this husband had and history this wife had, and how God brought them together for something so beautiful and magnificent. Now it has me realizing again how, isn't it crazy how a lot of us, we made such awful decisions when it came to dating, relationships. And for some of you, and I'll say you because I've not been married before, but we made such bad decisions in all of those other things. But now we really think that, oh, well, now I know what kind of husband, so I can pick my own husband. Really? You trust in yourself that much? You got it wrong all of those times before, but now you really think you can pick a husband. Is that what you're telling me? I don't understand it. And then I hear a lot of, when I'm not training nobody, I'm not going to be patient. You need to come ready made. I don't got time building no man. I'm getting old in these streets. Okay. But I think it's, again, keeping in mind that our role as helpmate, Ezer Kenegdo, is that of a lifesaver. And when you really look at Genesis and it talks about Adam being asleep, God opening him up, taking one of his ribs and then closing up that open place with flesh, taking one of his ribs and giving it to us. Ribs are vital. Ribs are vital, vital, vital when it comes to the human anatomy. And now God did all of that after saying that it was not good for man to be alone. He did all of that after. And knowing how important the ribs are, and people looking and trying to study whether or not a person can truly even survive, like, or should I say, what type of life they would have without their ribs. Whoever it is that God has for your husband, if you are wise, and if you listen to God, And if you would stop listening to everybody else and take the blinders off and stop being so superficial with some stuff, your husband, this man, he is going to give you life and you're going to breathe back into his. Because that's all connected to God taking the ribs, opening it up, taking the ribs, putting it back together. And from there, God created everything else. All of these, like he just spoke and things happened. He spoke and things were, he could have did the same thing with women, but he thought to take us from the man. So again, your husband is going to give you life and you're going to breathe back into his. You're going to literally save his life. And I know it sounds demanding and it sounds like it's a lot for one person, but for the right one, it's not too much. It's not. So don't say that you want marriage God's way if you don't even want the job of a helpmate. Do you want a husband or do you want your husband? Because if so, you got to stop running from him. You need to stop running from whoever it is that God has in your life. And even if it's not an actual person, it's a kind. It's a type of man. You know, the kind that you're always talking about. I always meet a man like a man who's got this going on, who needs help with this. And I'm sick of meeting men that are blah, 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 blah. Maybe, just maybe, who am I? Maybe. Just think about this for a second. You ready? Maybe it's because it's who you're called and graced to help. I don't know if you ever thought about that, but hopefully you will now. Perhaps you're meeting these kind of men because it's who God has literally given you that special grace. And those are the men you're called. And have you ever realized that some of the men you're dating, they're just a little bit, it's almost like they're kind of like the last guy, but now worse. So it has you thinking, are all men like this? Are all men the same? Maybe I'm not supposed to date if I'm continuously coming across men that are XYZ. Maybe it's because you haven't realized yet. Like I remember when God was letting me know, like, hey, your husband is coming, but I'm gonna tell you now he's gonna need help with something. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I don't mind helping, but God was like, no, I need you to understand what a helpmate really is all about. Because your husband is gonna need help with something. Like it's something that only you can help him with. But and it's like God was stressing it so great. I was like, maybe I don't want to get married. Because now you got me wondering, like, what kind of problems is he going to have? And as I'm looking back now, I'm realizing, I've had some history, men that were dealing with this and going through this and whatever else. And it's like each time I walked away, and it's like, okay, now I'm not dealing with that because I want a man who's going to come X, Y, Z and all this other good stuff. So the next guy, yeah, completely different. But it's like they all kind of got this one thing in common. They would all have this one kind of issue. And it's like literally each guy has been just a little bit worse. And I hate to say worse, but y'all got to tune in tomorrow for Rahab, Where's Your Husband? Because I'm trying to make all this tie in together for you. Stop running. That's all I'm going to tell you. Stop running and tune in tomorrow. It'll probably be here on Instagram, here on the page, here in the group. Rahab, Where's Your Husband? YouTube, the whole, like y'all are going to catch it one way or another. You're going to catch it. Because I'm all about marriage, I love coaching. Yeah, and especially dating coaching. Because yes, absolutely same thing. I know that a lot of women are like, I'm just going to sit here and wait on God any minute now. Like I won't be single anymore, whatever. I sent out the mailer recently, for those who are subscribed to the Sassy newsletter or whatever. But like I was saying, there are doers and there are watchers. And I feel like even as it comes to single Christian women, there are those who will sit back and, I'm just going to, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm going to have my, my purpose, my degree, my business, and like whatever else. I'm going to take my trips. But hey, I know what I want. I'm going to put myself, I'm going to date. I'm going to entertain, men. I'm going to, keep on going until I find that one that I know that, God is bringing us together and but I'm going to put some, effort into it all. I'm going to work while I wait. And I'm going to prepare while I pray. Like, I don't see anything wrong with that. Those are the doers. But then we also have the watchers. And I feel like the watchers are kind of the ones who are like, they're going to watch the doers. Like, there are two kind of people in this world, like those who do things, and then it's those who watch other people do things. Like, and I don't really think there's nothing wrong with either way. I feel like in this case, the watchers are those who are like, no, I'm going to stay over here. I'm going to cultivate my spirit. I'm going to spend time with God. I'm going to, focus on, the ministry or the business or the job or what I just want to, whatever, and whatever happen, if it's supposed to, that's fine too. But like I said, I love coaching because for those who are just like, no, I want to, take matters into my own hand, but I do want to make sure that God is with me, that I'm not doing anything stupid. So that's what I do as far as New Thing Life coaching is concerned. Those who are saying, hey, I want an accountability partner. I want someone who can make sure that I stay grounded. Teach me the right way. Teach me the ins and outs. Teach me and help me with the things that they don't teach us in church. Things that they don't talk about in church. They only tell us to just sit still and do nothing. So I like to hold people's hand and be their accountability partner when it comes to coaching. And for those who are like, hey, I'm just right now trying to see, like, how do I heal from some of my mistakes? How do I connect, closer, go deeper with God? How do I discover my purpose? Okay, yeah, we can do that on the ministry side too. And also, I mean, with life coaching, whatever as well. But, and that's, so I'm here for the doers and the watchers, whatever it is that you want. I just know that I've been called to single Christian women who do desire marriage one day. And I'm here to help those who are saying, hey, I want to make sure that I have an awesome marriage God's way. Beautiful wedding, sure. I care more about your marriage than I do your wedding. I will continuously stress that repeatedly. Connect with me, the jalministry.com/saved -single, all of the good stuff. YouTube, saved and single, whatever. I'll drop all of that stuff here so y'all can find all of those things. God bless y'all. I pray that you all have a wonderful Friday and be blessed. Bye bye.